Welcome back to this latest episode of Japan's Top Business Interviews. My name is Greg Story. I am the host of this podcast, and we are coming to you from the headquarters of the Standard Chartered Bank here in Tokyo. My special guest today is Mr. Yusuke Asai, who is the country representative for Standard Chartered. Welcome. Thank you, Asai-san. Great pleasure to have you with me. So you've had a long career in Japan and different organizations. So just take us back through where you sort of started in business to where you got to today with Standard Chartered.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, Greg-san, thank you for inviting to this interview, and I'm very honored to be interviewed because one of the most influential book for me to have brought me here is the How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Oh, wonderful.
And in fact, that is the only book I have read twice in my entire life. So I'm very honored once again
thank you very much.
to be interviewed by you. And in my very brief career history, I have spent a little bit more than 32 years in the Japanese financial services industry. My first 10 years started with a Japanese bank. And then I was lucky enough to get the MBA scholarship by this company to get the MBA from U.S. Business School, UCLA. And
Nice.
then after coming back, I spent a few years in the first bank. But I decided to change my jobs to become a Goldman Sachs investment banker in Japan.
Right.
And then I spent 13 years there. And then primarily as a kind of a head of the insurance sector and non-bank sector coverage in the investment banking division of Goldman Sachs Japan. That enabled me to develop a senior relationship with the insurance companies as well as the non-bank companies. And in fact, this senior relationship with the insurance companies brought me to the first leadership jobs. And which is a CEO for a company called RGA, which stands for Reinsurance Group of Japan. By the way, CEO of RGA means RGA Japan CEO.
Yeah, and Alan Smith is a previous
Yes.
CEO of
Yeah.
RGA as well, and he's also been a guest on the podcast.
Yeah,
too.
in fact, Alan is my instant predecessor.
Okay.
Yeah. So RGA is a very unique company which focuses only on the life reinsurance business, while on the other hand, like a Swiss Re or Munich Re focus both non-life and life, and then. Within the life reinsurance sector, I think RGA is still the third largest global player. And then that my first leadership job is this company as a CEO. And then let's see. You will ask about this how my first leadership experience, right?
I am going to. We'll probably go back to when maybe your first Japanese bank experience, and then as you progress through different companies. So what happened after RGA?
Yeah, after RGA, I spent 3 years at RGA, and then I was able to grow the business twice as large in terms of the top line and bottom line both. And so, that seems to have attracted attention of Citigroup. So I was recruited to become a Citigroup Japan deputy CEO and also the head of the investment banking.
Right.
Yeah, and then I spent 3 years there, and then after the 3 years, there was a global reorganization at Citigroup, which because it's a global reorganization, it has an impact on each of the local markets, right? And then the reorganization is the combining the three businesses into one business unit. So the three businesses are investment banking, corporate banking, and the capital markets. And then in Japan, of course, there are three business heads for each of the business units, right? I was one of them, and I was the relatively very new compared with the two of my partners, so head of the corporate bank and the head of the capital markets, who spent more than 10 years at Citi. So, because of reorganization, that's a kind of a foreign institution, I was asked to leave, but which gave me another kind of a good, I would say, additional experience, which I would not have been able to. Then, after leaving Citi, I was able to instantly find a job,
Nice.
Which is Japan CEO for NatWest Markets. NatWest Markets is investment banking arm of NatWest Group, which is used to be called Royal Bank of Scotland or RBS. So RBS used to be a very big organization globally and in Japan.
Yeah.
But after the global financial crisis, it had very difficult times, which muddled through the continuous restructuring years or periods. But when I was recruited to NatWest Markets as a Japan CEO, that company on a global basis was in a growth strategy mode. That's why I was recruited. So, then I spent a little bit more than 2 years there. But another restructuring wave started happening. Then I made a phone call to my headhunters, and then if there is any interesting opportunities, I'm more than happy to consider job change. Then this Standard Chartered Bank CEO opportunity was brought to me, and then Standard Chartered Bank is very famous in the financial services industry globally, and of course I knew the name. Then after I received a phone call from the headhunter, I saw the kind of public information. I was so attracted to this company because this has a lot of value-added, unique proportions.
It's a 120, 130-year-old bank. It's an incredibly well-established bank. I can't remember how many years it's been running now, but it goes.
As a bank, we are close to the celebrating 170 years.
170.
Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing.
Next year is the 170th anniversary for the bank. And then with regard to Japan, we started business in Japan in 1880.
1880.
Yeah, so
Meiji
it's
period.
more than 140 years now.
Meiji 12 or something
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
yeah.
Incredible,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great bank. And so, well, that's a fantastic history. So, one of the things we're interested in, and particularly it's interesting to interview you because a lot of the people I interview have been grown up in the West, educated in the West, worked in the West. Then they come to Japan, they have their first experience of running a Japanese team. But you've grown up in Japan, you've worked in Japan, you've worked for one of the traditional Japanese banks. So I guess you've come through the Japanese system of developing leaders. So when was the first occasion when you actually had a section or a team for yourself that you're responsible for in your banking career?
I think of course, very clearly speaking, it was when I got a CEO job for the RGA. But prior to
I think a section head or a division head.
Yes. So as I said, I was kind of responsible for the insurance sector and the non-bank coverage at Goldman Sachs investment banking division. I think that was the first time I would say, but there's some, I would say, uniqueness.
Okay.
So let me give a bit detail. So I don't know how you are familiar with regard to investment banking business. So, but the M&A advisory, equity underwriting, debt underwriting, those are the three important major products, right? In order to win those businesses, we have to keep on pitching, proposing ideas, and then the clients, if clients kind of is interested, then we get the mandate. After we get the mandate, then we will start the so-called execution process, right? Then after the execution is completed, we can get the fee.
Right.
There's a very, very long lead time from the initial pitch to the closure of the execution.
How long, on average, how long would that normally be?
Of course, there is no statistics, but in my experience, I would say it depends on the size of the deal and then uniqueness of the ideas. But on average, 2 to 3 years maybe.
It's a long cycle, isn't it? Sales cycle, 2 or 3 years.
In the emergency case such as a global financial crisis, we don't need to pitch. The clients come to us, right? Oh, we are in a very difficult financial positions. Asai-san, please help us. I need your advice, blah, blah, blah. And at that time, that was the busiest time in my history. But aside from that, normally speaking, 2 to 3 years, in case 5 or more years.
Wow.
Because
in our case, it's like 3 to 5 months. We think that's long.
Yeah.
In Goldman, how many people were in your team?
Goldman Sachs is unique, but there are two different types of the team organization in the investment banking divisions. Goldman Sachs is called a pool system. Some of our competitors take like a industry system. So industry system is easy. So as I said, I was the head of insurance sector coverage. So I have a dedicated team, right? And then, but Goldman Sachs is a pool system. Pool system means those junior bankers are put in the one single pool. And then if a coverage banker or senior banker started to think, hey, now we're at an inflection point. In other words, we have to put the gas pedal to win this specific mandate or something. Then we can ask the staffing officer to form a kind of a team for me for this specific project.
This is a bit like consulting companies.
You're right.
Similarly, they have the leads for the consultants, and then when they need team members, they create a team for that particular project.
Yes.
And then the team goes back into the pool. So it's a bit similar to that, or even in maybe law, where the senior partner will need some associates to come together for a particular deal, and then they're released again. So very similar to that.
There are pros and cons for each of the two systems, pool system and industry system. But this is how it works at Goldman Sachs. At least
so
when
I see what you mean. You can't really say this was my team for that project.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah. This is my team for the project, but this is not my team. Right. So, but of course, as we work in the, of course, if we win the multiple deals, which of course was the case, then there are some kind of people who tend to work with me, right? Then there's emerged a kind of a sense of a teamwork, right? And then so that was my first experience. And
is that difficult though? Because normally, when you have people who are in your team, they know I'm in Asai-san's team, and I'm going to be with Asai-san for a long time, and he's my boss, and we're going to have this contact, and that's it, and then maybe a new boss will come after Asai-san, but I'm in this team. It's very fixed. So when people are in this sort of pool situation, is it like they compete? They compete because they have a short time to show their capability with you, or do they think I'm like a type of free agent, like a baseball free agent? Yeah, okay, I'm with the Asai team now, but I'll be with another team later. I don't have that strong sense of connection with Asai-san because I'm a free agent. I mean, how does that work?
Both.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, let's see how. So as I said, there are each of the senior bankers, right, covering each of the industry. So more than 10 coverage bankers existed, maybe 15, I would say. So each of them are responsible to not necessarily win the. Of course, they have a responsibility to win the mandate and then close the deals. Otherwise, we can't make any money. That was our ultimate goal. But we will start asking to form a team at the time when we sense this is mature enough to ask a team, right, to create a team. But there are some other bankers, some of the vocal. Then even if it's a premature stage, some senior bankers say, "Oh, I need a team, very strong team. Otherwise, we can pitch to this CFO of a very important company." Blah blah blah. Then I did that kind of behavior. When I was assigned, I was asked to become a coverage banker. Then I started asking. Of course, I didn't have any senior relationship at the time when I just started, right, to cover. I spent 3 or 4 years before becoming a coverage banker, which is called execution banker. Or I was in a relatively junior pool, by the way. So I saw the clients, financial institutions, basically banks, insurance, and non-banks. But I didn't own my clients. But my predecessor all of a sudden left the Goldman Sachs to take a more senior role at the competitor. So I was asked to become his successor. That means I have no initial senior relationship with any clients, basically.
Right.
But I had to show up in front of the clients, and then they're not the very senior people, more like middle managers, right, or general managers or deputy general managers. Those people, as a starter. When I met with those people, they said, "Oh, Asai-san, I want to know this." Then I asked the staffing officer, to create a team for me because this Mr. X of our clients, whom I first met, gave me a homework.
Already.
Yeah. Then this is a good sign that they like us. Of course, the reality is not so easy.
No.
So I asked the staffing
Probably
officer.
gave that homework to some competitors as well.
Yeah,
right?
you're right. But there are other of course coverage bankers, right? So each of the coverage bankers put the request. Right? So we are competing on the same resources.
Right.
Then the staffing officer say, Asai-san, it's so ummatured, it's so premature to ask staffing at this stage.
Yeah.
You have to win you have to have a more deep dive dialogue. Then at a more mature stage, I am happy to put the team for you.
Yeah,
So
but you need to get the homework to get the
yes.
mandate, right?
Yes,
So it's a chicken and egg, isn't it?
Right. But I have to have a more conversation with that clients. Then, like I said, at certain point, then I can ask a staffing officer. Even after I was allowed to have my own team for this specific homework or assignment, potential assignment. But each same junior bankers belong to another team or other teams, right? So if they sense, hey, working on this Asai-san's assignment or homework, it's not interesting to me. Then they come up with the excuses. Oh, I'm working this important project
busy.
for more. Yes.
Yeah.
So we are.
That's a type of free agent.
Yes, that's a type of free agent.
Yeah.
Then what happened is I sought for the advice from my boss at the time, Goldman Sachs. Then he said to me, you have to win the kind of mandates by yourself alone, basically. Then at least I should have such ambition. It's not your team's effort. It's you who has to be trusted by the clients. Then that means, of course, I have to learn quite many things: global industry landscape, not only the product details, so M&A advisory detail, equity underwriting rules,
By yourself.
Yeah, by myself, right? So to the extent that I can be confident enough to speak in front of even the senior people of the clients to talk about the products detail, investor universe, global industry landscape, etc. So that was a kind of a game changer time. Then I was able to started to originate the kind of mandates. By the way, it took almost 2 years for me to win the first M&A mandate.
Oh my God, that's
Because as I said, I had no relationship with any clients, right? So I had to do quite a lot of things. But this, precisely speaking, it was 1 and 7 months. One year and 7 months.
Most companies aren't so patient, like Asai-san, what are you doing? You haven't got any clients, you haven't got any business. There must be tons of pressure on you to get a deal done.
Yeah,
mate.
good thing is that investment banking business is very volatile. So good things and bad things. So my coverage area, insurance and non-bank area, when I became the coverage banker in 2004, it was so silent, so quiet, so no deals.
Okay.
So in other words, if I lose some important deals, there was such a job security risk. But luckily enough, there was no, I would say, meaningful M&A or equity underwriting businesses for about 1.5 years. Then I won a reasonable size M&A for the first time. So
You're away.
I was lucky.
And then you get your team.
Yeah, I got the team.
Let's move forward then to RGA, because in RGA you're the boss, right? So you go from someone who's been in a very prestigious company, a big company, you're in a particular area, you got this really long time frame to get the business, you get the pool, access to the pool when you've got the mandate, right? So it's all difficult. You get the job done. But now you're the boss. You're an RGA, you've got divisions, you've got people who are your direct reports, so you command everything now. So how did you adjust to go from someone who's getting access to temporary people, really, pooled people, to now I've got a strict lineup of direct reports. It's a very established business. It's not quite the Goldman Sachs model. It's a more traditional model. What was your approach as leader? How did you win the trust of that group of direct reports? Because you're coming in from outside, same industry, but not quite the same business. They've been in that business a long time. You turn up, Alan had been there for a number of years. They knew him, and now suddenly Asai-san, we don't know you. How did you approach that?
Okay, yes. So let me conclude the aftermath of the Goldman Sachs days, right?
Okay.
So after I won the first deal, then I had a team, right? And then the team liked to work with me very closely. So why? Probably information sharing, communication, and then those kinds. So team management, right? If I don't share the information, then the team, let me say back. So some bankers, coverage bankers, just say to the junior bankers, you have to do this by tomorrow morning. That's it.
Oh, okay. No why.
No why, yes. Why is very important to get the people engagement, right?
Yeah.
So then we started to develop a mutual trustful relationship, right, within the team. That kind of first experience or good experiences will be shared with the their junior banker colleague, right? Then after a certain point in time, some junior bankers start to say, "I want to work with Asai-san," blah blah blah.
They prefer that
Then
style.
further to that, some junior bankers, even if I haven't spoken with those junior bankers, they come to me, "I need your advice. Asai-san, can you bring me to the lunch or dinner?"
Okay.
That's how it started. So I was able, and then I was successful in winning quite a lot of mandates. So success and business success, which makes the team happy, right?
Yeah.
Plus communication, information sharing. Those are the key elements to get the team up and running. That's my takeaway.
I guess also in a company like Goldman Sachs too, if you're winning business and you're getting mandates, you're bringing in fees, the people who are working for you are getting big bonuses. They're getting a lot of money.
Yes.
So I guess in a way, it's like follow the money, If Asai-san's originating a lot of money, I want to be on Asai-san's team because that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
I guess that's also an incentive.
Yeah. Money is incentive, but I think communication and explaining why is probably
More important.
Yeah.
Right.
And then RGA. So I would say first reaction at RGA was not so much warm welcome,
Really?
because it was when I was 45 years old. 45 years old, right? When I took this CEO role for the industry, which I don't know. Because I was covering the insurance sector, so I know the clients, I know the industry issues, financial issues, growth, a lack of the growth opportunities. That's why I was proposing like M&A opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But reinsurance is more like an internal operation as opposed to the financial or M&A, right? So the RGA teams are looking at me. What can this young CEO can do to grow this business, right? So
You felt that.
I was able to feel that.
But you could feel that. You could feel that.
Yeah.
I'm in their eyes. I look young. I don't really have deep experience in the industry.
Yeah.
So what's the value I bring?
Yeah. Plus, not necessarily on the day one, but as time goes by, there are some people who started to like me, so they advise me, Asai-san, this is a kind of sentiment, blah blah blah. So
Right.
then I did the same thing at Goldman Sachs, basically. What I did first is the kind of communication. So I started to have a one-on-one conversation with each of the business heads or team heads. This is basically normal for CEOs. Plus, one-on-one meetings with everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah.
How big's the team? Was the team at RGA?
70 to 80 people.
Wow, that's a lot of hours.
So then what I have done is, so I got the kind of RG Japan corporate culture from some people. What I should do is probably listen to all the voices from each single employee, which was so successful. Three things, self-introduction each other. Number two is if there's an area to improve at this company, what are they based upon your own opinion? Third one, similar to the second point, is what do you expect me as a new CEO? Those three questions are what I asked. This was so successful in terms of gathering the kind of voices, unheard voices by anyone. So
people open though, because if I'm in a Japanese company, I got a new boss, or probably any company, and the boss says, what do you expect from me? I'm wondering whether I'm going to really share openly, honestly, what I expect. Maybe I'll give some very polite, canned answer, a tarimai answer, because that's rather safe, because I don't really know you yet. So, do you feel you're getting sort of propaganda from these people, or the real hone? Are getting the tatemae or the hone here?
Yeah, right. So initially, because of the time constraints, I was able to do it only one round, basically. So some people, didn't share their candid opinion, but some people did.
Okay.
It depends on the people, because 70, 80 people, right? So most of the people didn't say so much candid opinion, but some. And then, those are the people who wanted me to change the corporate culture in a more positive way. So then, I was able to identify some people to continue to speaking. So that's what I did. Then, that's this communication is number one. Then, even within the same company, 70, 80 people company, which is not a big company, but different teams members didn't interact. So, what silo
problem,
What I have done is I organized a kind of a CEO lunch session, small group CEO lunch, by inviting the cross-team junior team members. They say
across teams.
Yeah. Team A, B, C, two people from each of the team, for example, and myself.
Right.
Then, some people say, nice to meet you for the first time. I'm blah, 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 blah. I know your face, but haven't spoken. So this happened.
Even they meet each other.
Yeah. So it was good. So communication is so important. Inclusion is so important. Breaking down the silo is important. Second thing I did is win the success or win the business, right? The reason why, I attracted RGA senior management attention to make me the Japan CEO is my senior relationship. So but I have to know the company, right? For the first few months. After spending the first few months, I started to reach out to my counterpart at Goldman Sachs, including the CEOs of very big companies. So RGA staff was so surprised. Oh, I haven't met this guy. Or even I didn't think that we, as a company, RGA, can meet this senior person. That's what I am asked to do. Then I started to meet with senior people by bringing the team, of course, because I had some good confidence. RGA has a strong value proposition that can help our clients, insurance companies, to grow the business in a meaningful way. So this value proposition is so specific, but it was called Advantage Program. So step back a little bit. So there are two types of reinsurance, but life reinsurance, facultative reinsurance, facultative reinsurance, and automatic reinsurance. So life reinsurance works this way. So if you apply if you want to purchase a life insurance policy, but if you are unhealthy, you will be rejected, right? Because life insurance companies don't want to take such a risk, whether it's a kind of a death risk or kind of a sick risk or whatever, right? So it's called a mortality risk or morbidity risk. So, but before rejecting such a kind of application, insurance companies ask the reinsurance companies, okay, please analyze this specific case. Then it's like a competition. 3 or 4 companies are asked. Then the company will give the business to the most price competitive reinsurance company. Case by case. This is called facultative reinsurance, each one. Automatic is, there's a kind of a specific categories. And if certain applications meet this category, then this application should be automatically go to the certain specific reinsurance company, which has a contract. So this is called automatic reinsurance. RGA is very well known for the facultative reinsurance. But the facultative reinsurance is so time consuming and then and not so much profitable. What RGA has done is with this, RGA was a latecomer in this market, so unlike Swiss or Munich. So RGA has quite a lot of facultative reinsurance data. Facultative reinsurance is basically comprised of the very bad healthy people, unhealthy people.
Right, okay.
The RGA was smart enough to use this set of data, I think from maybe 2010 or something, or a bit earlier, to start to pitch this advantage program. Hey, this category, which is a bit aggressive, you can cede to us or reinsure to us automatically. We don't reject because we are confident. Even if you feel it's
We'll balance the risk
yes,
of payouts.
Yes. This is quite easy because the insurance agent who sells the policies have more confidence to
And
sell
it's
the
quick.
It's quick. It's quick. You're right.
Okay, instant result.
Yes, you are right. Yeah, you're spot on. So when the senior meeting, CEO, CFO, chairman, or deputy CEO, or whoever, whom RGA basically has not met, I made such a proposal. Hey, Mr. CEO, our value proposition is this. And of course, those senior people are joined by RGA's direct counterpart business heads. For example, managing director in charge of the underwriting. Underwriting is a risk assessment. Or senior actuaries, or those people are joined with
technical people.
Yeah, technical people.
So this is obviously you're able to get the top of the company to accept this idea, which is a huge amount of potential business for RGA. So I can imagine that's why you're able to double the revenues in the time you were there. So were there any other things that came up from a leadership point of view? I mean, you came in, people didn't know you, you got one-on-ones with everyone, you start to show people, hey, I've got connections, and also I can do top sales. You're doing top sales with the CEO to CEO. They're buying the package. Things are looking good. So when I think was it Citi? You went to Citi next? From Citi, right? So when you arrived in Citi, you've got another division there. So again, you're coming in from outside. Citi's been around in Japan a long time as well. Very renowned bank, got some big divisions, lots of people. So how did you bridge into that? I mean, again, you've got some connections there, but again, you've got a new team. Hi, I'm now running the division. How did you build the trust? What did you use from your previous experiences worked on building the trust with them?
Yeah, let me conclude this RG.
All right, go back and finish the RGA
So after this top sales, of course, top sales cannot conclude any businesses, right? Delegation is important. After I open the door, then basically let the team do. Then I told the team that I am always open. So if there's any needs for me to step in,
let me know.
Then let me know. So I did the same thing. I tried to do the same thing at Citi.
Right.
So let's see. When I was at Goldman Sachs, my boss Mochida-san, very famous Goldman Sachs Japan CEO. I think we had a very good relationship, and then he said to me several times that I trust you, Asai-san. That's it, and use me anytime. That's it. Use me means if I want to go outing with the CEO or CFO or kind of a dinner, then I didn't pre-ask Mochida-san whether he's available. I always set up such a go outing or dinner. Because he trusts me, right? I am at your disposal. Yes, sorry, I am at your disposal.
Good.
So then I trust you, as I said. I am at your disposal. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So I felt so honored, right? I did this one and everything I did at the RGA, at Goldman Sachs, I did those things at Citi. So, but anyway, what I have done at Citi IBD head is I had a one-on-one meeting with everyone, excluding the secretaries, but even the junior banker.
How many people are we talking this time?
About 60 people.
Still, it's a huge number of people.
Yeah.
See everybody, yeah.
So I was able to, identify some issues and of course opportunities at the same time. Then I initially, of course, each of the coverage bankers brought me to their counterparts, like typically CFO, basically. In some cases, CEOs. This is new investment banking head, Asai-san, blah blah blah. Then there were some bankers who, like Mochida-san's case, I did the same thing. I am always at your disposal.
Are you doing business with Japan? Do you really know how things work? Japan Business Mastery provides the answers. Do you have the right networks and know how to create them? Do you know how to get on the same wavelength with Japanese buyers? Do you know what being trustworthy looks like from the Japanese perspective? Japan Business Mastery is based on more than 30 years' experience in Japan and will become your go-to guide. Want to succeed in Japan? Buy Japan Business Mastery now. If you want to be successful as a leader, do the Leadership Training for Managers course. All companies need people who can both manage and lead. Leading people screams out for real skills in communication, dealing with all different types of people, being excellent at innovation, planning, delegation, handling mistakes, doing performance reviews really well, and inspiring and motivating the team. Do the Leadership Training for Managers course now in either Japanese or English. So I guess, you've again, you're leading a different group of people. Now there are more specific divisions. You're able to play that top sales role quite effectively. And then so after Citi, you went, after Citi was... NatWest, right?
Yeah.
So, Royal Bank of Scotland really had a lot of trouble. They are a sort of prestigious bank, nationalised by the UK government, owned by the UK government. Yes. And then NatWest took it over. So you're coming through quite a turbulent period by the time you got there. So I guess when you joined, you're the head. So you've got probably a lot of people inside the organisation who are survivors who didn't get fired, and probably a lot of people did get fired, but they had to reduce costs. You've probably got, therefore, some people still not quite sure if they've got a job. Am I going to be okay? I'm a survivor, but how long am I a survivor? And there are a lot of people like our prestige has gone down, nationalised by the government, NatWest has taken us over, loyalty, prestige, ambition, motivation, quite a lot of complex things going on at NatWest. How did you approach that as a leader?
Yeah, so the context was slightly better or different than what you described.
I'm too gloomy, am I?
You're too gloomy. NatWest didn't take over RBS. It was just rebranded, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Because NatWest is more household names, and so rebranded back to the very famous household brand to NatWest. So and then. So the researching started back in 2008 or 9, and then it continued like 10 years almost. Then during that time, for example, RBS Japan, I used to have like 500 people, more than 500. When I joined NatWest, it was less than 40. So
that's a big restructure. So 500 down to 40.
Yeah, so many people were already, dismissed, and then that was a good job by my predecessor CEO, and then so that's number one. And then I think he was very good to identify the people to keep and people to let go. So and then there was a more than enough transition period between my predecessor and myself. So we were able to have a very good conversation, and then I was able to understand who they are on each employee basis, basically. So then, when I joined, there was no voluntary resignation risk, basically, or flight risk.
That had sort of been, we've settled
Yes,
that.
yes.
We've drawn a line there.
Yes.
You're all here,
Yes.
40 of you, you've
Yeah.
got a job.
Yeah.
We move forward.
Yes.
We build from here.
Yes. So when I joined, as I said, probably at the beginning, NatWest or RBS has been continuous researching for the 10 years or so. When I was recruited, it was on a growth phase.
Okay, nice.
So then new CEO, the global basis, growth phase, including Japan, of course, then, people are quite, positive when I joined. After 6 months or so, the new CEO stepped in, and then who was internally promoted, first female high street bank CEO. She started researching once again, which basically disappointed quite many people. And then so there's of course some time lags, right? To have from the initiation, but another researching to the kind of voluntary resignation. So after 1 year or so, good people started to leave. Then,
you can see this is a train wreck on the way.
Yeah. It was not.
So that's where you're out of there.
Yeah.
And now you're in here.
And in fact, after I joined NatWest Market Japan as a CEO, the business started to grow, in fact, in a very positive way. And then so everyone was so happy, but then registration announcement came. They said another year or so. But that basically drags down the entire company on a global basis, right?
Yeah, good people.
Yeah, good people
can
find
get
a job. Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
And so they see, okay, I've been through this once, I don't want to go through it twice, so I can find a good job somewhere else. I'm going.
Yeah.
So you lose your talent, right?
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to now we're to Standard Chartered. So you've been here how long now?
9 months so far.
9 months, right?
Yeah.
So are you? Have you met everybody in Standard Chartered? Have you applied your same approach here?
Oh, everybody
Trying to
means
meet
in Japan.
everybody.
Yeah. I was thinking whether it's everybody on the globe. It's
No.
more than 85,000 employees.
No, that's too
I was
ambitious.
joking.
That's too
Yeah,
ambitious.
I did.
How many people in the bank now?
140 people.
140. So have you met a whole 140
Yes,
people?
yes,
Wow, again,
yes.
you
But other than
taking your time.
other than the contract worker or secondees from third party, right? So I did that. So I think.
So your ability to have those first interviews now, having done it a number of times, must be getting very high. You must be getting very good at establishing the rapport and asking the questions and getting out, the information you need. You must be expert at that by now.
I don't know whether there's expertise needed, but I think I was good. And then so when I joined, it was December 1st, and then luckily enough or unluckily enough, many people started to take a day off at the second half of the month. But there are, of course, people who have to work on the second half of the year end, second half of the month of the year end. And then which means basically I have nothing to work, basically.
Yeah.
My secretary was very good to fill my calendar with one-on-one meetings by using some kind of free time. And then so December end and also the until the end of January, my secretary set up those kind of one-on-one meetings. Yeah, and then there was a very good findings, and through my experience at RGA, and I did the same thing at NatWest, by the way. So RGA, Citi, NatWest, and the Standard Chartered. Listening to all the voices is important. If you listen only to your direct reports, then there may be some sugarcoating maybe or distortion. I don't know. But listening to all the voices is quite important.
So if we sort of take your career so far, from when you were leading from RGA onwards, what have you found has worked very well to get innovation from people? What have you found to encourage innovation inside the companies? What works well for you?
I think the bottom line is probably communication. So, necessity is the mother of invention.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
So when you come up with the innovative idea, there's got to be some necessity, some needs, right? So innovation cannot be come up with the one single person probably. For example, like I said, communication is probably the single important factor. So when I have a conversation with clients, for example, clients asks, for example, difficult homework, give me a difficult homework, but if we can solve it, this could be interesting business opportunity.
right.
Then, I asked kind of a team meeting. Then, hey, the team, this Mr. CFO asked this, gave me this homework. Let's think about how we can solve this. Then, people start to say, oh, Asai-san, how about this? How about this? How about this? Then, team means, of course, it's not only Japan team, but also across the board, right?
Yes.
So communication is important. So first, we have to know any needs. Not necessarily it doesn't have to be the kind of client's needs, but even the internal needs. We can kind of optimize this administration.
Do we do that through, there's a number of different ways of doing that. One can be, we sit around the boardroom table like this, right, and we throw ideas around. Another is we create brainstorming opportunities where we get maybe different people involved and we're writing down ideas, we're prioritizing the best ideas, and then we're going, okay, we're going to do this by this date, very more formal planning. What have you found works best?
I think a casual way is better. So
like
not the
the
formal,
casual.
and also the brainstorming type. Of course there are some I would say practices to use a sticky notes or something, right?
Yes,
but doesn't have to be any formal.
Right.
Just have some conversation. Then probably people will be complacent after having some discussion. What's the second important thing is to follow up.
Follow up.
Yeah, take a note, agree on the kind of a next step among this team, then move it forward.
Move it forward.
Yeah.
So you're managing that process.
Yeah.
Great. And what about, you've been in a number of different companies, you've come in from outside, you've got a fresh team, so you've done this, a relatively large number of times. So what have you found? You've talked about communication and you talked about the why already. Apart from that, have you found any other things which work well to build trust with teams?
Yeah, so I think basically a similar concept. So communication and approachability, my door is always open. And also...
Do people believe that?
I think so.
Because often people say, my doors are always open, except you're really so busy. Boss looks so busy, I shouldn't really interrupt the boss. They don't use the door, right?
Standard Chartered, they come.
They come. Okay,
RGA, they came. City, yes. Now it's yes. Yeah.
So they do come.
Yeah.
They do believe you.
Yeah. So probably what made them to believe me is probably transparency. I try to be transparent as much as possible.
What does that mean, being transparent?
Similar to the topic we discussed. So, hey, Mr. CFO, ask this question.
Right.
Let's discuss.
Right.
Some people try to hide the information.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a type of asset.
Yes, type of assets.
Controlling assets.
So this kind of a transparency, and also because of my role, I have a lot of intelligence about where we're headed, right? So, for example, it's not only town hall, but as necessary, we have basically town hall type of meeting, or in the CMT, country management team, which is called Standard Chartered. We have not only the monthly formal meeting, but also a bi-weekly meeting. So I share what I heard from people all over the world, as much as possible.
This is very good practice. It's one interesting thing, though. We talk about the frozen middle management, like you have someone like you, a very senior position, you're talking to other CEOs, you're getting lots of market information, what they're thinking, the market movements. You've got the global organization feeding you with information. You are now feeding that down to your top line of management. Often, though, the middle management, they're like a big sponge on one side, and they're like a concrete floor on the other. they absorb everything, but they don't pass it down. So the middle managers don't pass on the why. They don't pass on the trends. They don't pass on the information that they're getting to the people at the bottom. So what have you found works well to get around that problem? Because often at the senior level you think, oh, everyone knows because I've told people. Oh, well, you've told them, but they haven't passed it on. So how do we get around that problem? What have you found works well for that?
Maybe balance can answer this question. We have that kind of a slight issue, I think, depending on the team. And then, so probably, I don't know this is a solution, but, the message that I keep on telling, disseminating, my door is always open, is probably one way to solve this issue, I can, if I step in too much, if I bypass those middle people to speak with the, junior people, that's micromanagement, right?
Yeah.
Which is no good. Delegation is important. And so I cannot force everything, but what I do is disseminating the message. My door is always open, so they come to me. But there are certain people who oftentimes come to me. So which is good, Do
you ever, in some cases, some CEOs, for example, they will tell their direct reports, oh, look, I'm going to catch up with some people, very junior people, just to connect with them, going to have a lunch or something like that. You did that before, right? You mentioned that before. That often helps them to understand, are my messages actually getting to the people at the very bottom to check that? Do you ever do that?
The answer is at the moment no. I am thinking to do that.
Right. It's only 9 months, right? You're still
Yeah.
It's not a bad practice, is it?
Yeah.
So often for leaders, culture is a methodology to create the environment that's going to allow people to be successful. And there are different types of cultures. There are very oppressive cultures. There's very free and open cultures. There's very siloed cultures. There's every possible culture variety you can imagine. What's your aspiration for the culture here? What sort of culture would you like to build here? You've just been here 9 months, so you're probably on the path.
It's so easy, let's see. The purpose is a kind of a buzzword for the past few years, right? But I started my own version of purpose from early days at Goldman Sachs. Why we are doing job, why we are working, it's easy. To make people happy. People means, I would say, clients or customers happy, right? With our unique value proposition.
Well, that's interesting you should say that because I haven't worked for Goldman's, right? But my impression of Goldman's is they're incredibly successful, incredibly hard driving, incredibly shareholder value oriented organization. And I'm just wondering, happiness means share price goes up or more revenues go up. Client happiness is a function of making them money. This sounds very fuzzy, let's make everyone happy, but I just wonder, is reality like, let's squeeze the juice out of every particular client, let's get as much money as we can. I feel this contradiction between the sort of rhetoric at one level and what you're talking about. So how does that work?
Maybe I was too advanced when I think Jamie Dimon or some other people in some round table something came up with the concept of stakeholder.
Value.
But so that was what I was thinking early days at Goldman Sachs. Unless we make clients happy, hey, Asai-san, your proposal is so good, that means they are happy, right? With our proposal, not my proposal, our team's proposal, right? Because difficult job cannot be done by a single person alone. It's a teamwork, right? Yeah. So our customers, clients, like us, they are happy with us, right? That's why they gave us a mandate. After winning the mandate, we have to go through execution. Then, clients sometimes become unhappy. Then they will never ever give a mandate. So we have to always keep the clients happy. Happy means, do everything. It's different from do whatever they request us, right? We should have a constructive conversation in case the client asks a kind of an unreasonable request, right? So, but at the end of the day, if the deal is successfully closed, clients are happy. Then, for example, the client senior management are happy, the market cap goes up, for example. Unless we make a clients happy, we cannot make money at all.
Right.
If we cannot make money, we cannot make our shareholders happy.
Exactly.
So it's a kind of a, if it's a shareholder value, then that's only one side of the game. What's coming? The value is coming from the clients. Why it's coming from the clients? It's the value propositions we are delivering to clients. Then what kind of a culture, right? So Standard Chartered Bank business is reasonably complicated because we are helping the Japanese companies for their kind of a global business activities, right? Especially in the Asian, Middle East, and African countries. And then so cross-border business support is not an easy job. So this has to be teamwork. Then what I want to do is a kind of a more collaborative corporate culture to provide more value proposition to clients. Then they give us a mandate. Then that's a kind of the business model, business cycle, what I want to achieve. So teamwork.
So that's a different approach, isn't it? If you come into Standard Chartered and say, okay, we're going to get the maximum revenues possible, we're going to get the most fees we can possibly, we're going to triple our production, get every deal, go hard, drive the hardest bargain. That's one approach, right? And another approach, as you say, is, okay, we're going to start with the customer. We're going to start with a customer as, for example, reorder, repeat mandates, continuing mandates. That's a different approach. And so the whole culture swings to a different direction. So it's very interesting that you're explaining this is what you're trying to do, and then people understand, okay, so this is the approach we're going to take. So that culture is a big driver, isn't it, in the direction of the company?
Yeah, I think so. So again, let's see. If the CEO just continues to say, you have to work hard, blah, 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 people may be resistant, right? And in fact, I brought in senior relationships in a meaningful manner, which I developed in my past leadership jobs. And then, so not only with the financial institution clients, but also corporate client senior relationship. So I started to spearhead those kind of senior meetings. Then, the team started to be enthusiastic. Then enthusiasm will probably result in more communication, collaboration within the team, and then so I think I can sense it's happening. Then automatic aftermath is to people are more motivated to work. Then with that top-down mandate to you have to win the business, you have to double the wins. Rather, spearhead the senior meetings, and then share the information. Discuss how we should address this client's needs, so that
more
we
collaborative approach.
Collaborative. That's what they have been doing for all the past leadership role, and that Standard Chartered. That's what I'm doing as well.
So, if someone was going to be sent to Japan to run an operation here, what would be some advice you'd give them to be successful in Japan?
Let's see. If I can be more general, if it's a specific to Standard Chartered Bank Japan,
just they
expert, right?
They're not necessarily in banking. It could be any industry.
Yeah.
But their headquarters says, okay, you go to Japan, run an operation.
Yeah.
Just in general.
One of the before I took my first CEO role at the RGA, I read 3 or 4 leadership books. One of the things is that leaders are always watched by other people. So you have to have a strong integrity. That's what I believe I'm doing. So I think integrity is probably the most important. It's not only applicable to the expat to Japan, but I think all over the world probably.
What about often they don't know Japan, they don't speak Japanese. Should they learn the language?
No.
They need it?
There are some good leaders. For example, Lee West, current City Japan CEO, I really like him. Kevin Quinn at Goldman Sachs, there are some very good foreigners. And then Greg Goodflesh at the RGA, they never ever be able to speak Japanese. but they have some good value they brought into not only to the team but also even with the clients. Lee Wade is a CEO, so he doesn't necessarily interact with the people, clients. But Kevin Quinn, he was a CEO of Goldman Sachs Investment Bank in Japan. His background is semiconductor space or technology space, so he knows all the global intelligence on so he shared those information with the clients. Greg Goodfresh of RGA, he is excellent. He is so knowledgeable actually, and then so interactive, outspoken. So clients really like to interact with him, even over the dinner. Kevin as well. So Japanese language is not necessary. Rather, what value added you can bring is more important.
If you can have your definition of leadership, what would your definition of leadership be? Noblesse oblige? Is that
So noblesse oblige,
Noblesse oblige.
noblesse oblige, or integrity.
Right.
Those are what leaders have to always own.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I believe I am doing what I just said.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you very much. And I'm very impressed that you mentioned to me at the beginning of the interview that you've read How to Win Friends and Influence People twice. Which is very good.
It was when I was young. So in my first Japanese bank, I have to originate a new corporate loans. That was first time for me to be a salesperson.
Right. Okay.
The product is a loan, but the salesperson.
Yeah.
It was age of 23. Yeah, it was my second year in the bank. So 20 still 22, I think, or 23. So, but I have to interact with people 50 years old,
Much
55,
older,
much older. Okay, how I can talk with them? That's the first time. Second time I read is when I became a Goldman Sachs coverage banker.
Okay.
Because the seniority is so high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm going to give you a copy of Zaegyo,
Yeah.
my book on selling in Japan. So given you've had some solid experience in selling, it'll be interesting to get your comments on that. And
Okay.
thank you very much for
Thank
today.
you for your
It's been
time.
great. And, I
And
look forward to-
sorry for some time, which when I was not able to come, nobody's obliged for my
That's okay,
exam.
no problem. It was great.
I don't know, you can edit it.
We'll fix all that up. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. Well, thank you very much for
Okay.
today. It's been great.
Thank you.
So join us again, please, for our next episode of Japan's top business interviews.